Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our family service today. Nice to have everyone here and there joining us for our service. I'd like to introduce you to our chairpersons for today. Today we have Bunny and Bunny and Bunny. You might recall that last week Bunny and Bunny were here and they enjoyed the service so much they insisted to come back again, and they wanted to bring a friend. Sometimes it's nice to be able to share our services and we get comfortable in our own routine, but sometimes there's people we know who might be interested in the Dharma, who might have difficulties in their life, and they need some support and comfort. And so coming to service, being invited to service is a nice way to introduce them to our Buddhist practice and to welcome them as well, see that they are comfortable as they are spending time with us at our service. You will notice that Bunny and Bunny again have their masks on, encouraging us to be cautious and careful with this pandemic times. And they have their onenji with them, so they are ready for service. Allow me to share our service order for today. We'll have the reading of the three treasures, followed by the reading of the Raisanmon. This is the three treasures in Japanese. Following this, I'll take my seat up on the altar for the chanting of the Sanbutsuge and the Sanbutsuge. Nembutsu and Ekoku will complete the chanting portion of the service. Then I'll come back here to provide the Dharma message. With that, we will begin. Please join me in the reading of the three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in the life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teachings. Raisanmon. Ninjin ukegatashi imasure ni uku. Buppo kikikatashi imasure ni kiku. Konomi konjou ni mukatte dosezumba. さらに譲れの章に向かって格の身をどせん。大衆もろともに指針に参謀に消えし立て祭るべし。自ら仏に消えし立て祭る。まさに願わくば主情とともに大道を体現して無常意を起こさん。自ら法に消えし立て祭る。まさに願わくば主情とともに深く共存に入りて知恵海のごとくならん。自らそうに消えし立て祭る。まさに願わくば主情とともに大衆を通りして一切無下ならん。無常人人未妙の法は百千万号にも愛をことかたし、我今検問し従事することを得たり、願わくば如来の真実義を消し立てまつらん。 Amidotsu, Namo Amidotsu, Namo Amidotsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda. Sanbutsuge, Sanbujo, and Sanbutsuge. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Ji 文在所法可動生じ未無下段不正上位解任精進行政三昧知恵以上公正特分不行志願一切空空一切大安下士有分百千億万無量大小修行語者供養一切指導処分不尿愚道検証不逆異尿語者処分世界不不影無修洗脳光明師匠変師匠国尿税精進異人難量量が差分国土大老衆奇妙道場超絶国尿内音二無闘争加藤愛民道断日祭実法来生新年少女伊藤が国下落安穏公文神妙是が心象本願の非力少々欲実法世尊知恵無下上領子孫知が信行軽量心死食毒中画行精進臨終不敬ナマンダムナマンダムナマンダムナマンダムナマンダムナマンダム観にしく六平等性祭論の大心往生安楽ナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダ Good morning again, everyone. Nice to have you here. Really appreciate your being here at the service. Today I thought I'd share a story that was on TV Japan. And my mom shared this story after she had watched this segment about a farmer in Japan. Let's start this with the reading of Wasan. Please join me in Gassho. The great sage Sakyamuni teaches that Amida's land is easy to reach, and calls the sentient being who doubts the Pure Land path a person lacking eyes or lacking ears. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. This Wasan is from the hymns of the Pure Land, reminding us that the Nembutsu is able to awaken us, our eyes and our ears, calling us to be able to reach the Pure Land. In this story, there was a man who lived in the countryside in Japan, and he loved, really cherished his area that he had grown up in. All his friends that he grew up with had left the area. They wanted to, after college, they stayed away. They wanted to make their lives in the big city perhaps, and saw living in the country there as kind of a dead end for them, so they wanted to leave. But he loved the area so much, he appreciated it so much that he wanted to stay. This is where I'm going to live my life. But he struggled. The soil there was fertile and rich. He grew rice, he had vegetables, he raised chickens. It's a very humble life. He had 2 daughters who grew up there, and they too went on to school and moved away to college and stayed in the big city, seeing no chance to live a nice life there in the countryside. So he tried many different things, trying to sell his eggs. He would take his eggs into town, very nice, wonderful eggs, bring them to other businesses like bakeries and such, and they would tell him he had very nice eggs, but they cost a little bit more. They could do just as well buying the less expensive eggs that they have been buying and produce their products. And so they could not be able to support him. And he tried to sell his rice. He had nice rice, and he thought he could, to show off the rice, he would make rice balls almost to be only flavored with salt, so people could really appreciate the taste of the rice that he grew. And so these days there's so many other fancy versions of rice balls, almost to be, and so no one would want these simple rice balls with only salt flavoring. So that failed, and other things failed, and he didn't do very well. So he was wondering, what could he do? What could he do? Tending his vegetables, his rice paddies, wondering how he could make something successful. So he had an idea, and he told his wife that he would open a restaurant, and they would sell Tamago Gohan. So this is the raw egg, beaten raw egg, put over steaming hot rice, a little bit of shoyu flavoring. We had just talked about this a few weeks ago at our coffee hour Zoom sessions here in Alameda. And so this was his idea, a restaurant selling this Tamago Gohan. And so his wife, she had her doubts, wondering what the heck he was thinking, particularly after so many of his other ideas and ventures had failed. What is he thinking to have a restaurant with Tamago Gohan? Anybody could buy eggs and beat the eggs and put it on rice. So what's the big deal? Who's going to come so far away, way out to the countryside, and sit at a restaurant that served Tamago Gohan? So he said, no, I have the best eggs and the best rice. And so he thought he would try. So he set up this restaurant where he lived, outside, seating, made it real nice, very nice, so it would look very pleasant. He had a pond, and so he made it more, prettied it up, more plants, rocks placed here and there. He added koi to the pond just to make it very nice, very pleasant. And so this would be one of his attractions. So he set up the tables, and slowly, gradually, a person or two came to the restaurant. Few people came, and the eggs were so good, and the rice was so good. They came, and they went back and they told their friends. And then their friends came and went back and told their friends. So they started to have a bit of a following. He extended the area where he could sell produce. So he put out tables to the back, to the side of the restaurant area, and put out his fresh produce as well. And pretty soon, people were coming, lining up, waiting for an hour to have seating. But they didn't mind, because they could wander down to the pond, enjoy the view of the pond, watching the koi swimming through. They could go to the produce area and buy some produce that they could take home. And so they all enjoyed it. They didn't mind waiting an hour, and more people would come. And when it was busy times, the wait would even be 3 hours long. But they didn't mind. It was so good. It was such a stressless, relaxing place out in the countryside that they enjoyed so much, and the food was that good, and the setting was that nice. One of the daughters came back from her job in the city to help with the family business, and they continued to grow. More people talking about the business and coming to visit, lining up to enjoy this nice, quaint little restaurant. Tamago Gohan, eggs over rice, miso shiru soup, tsukemono. Such a simple menu, but they would come. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. So a wonderful story that he was able to come up with this after wondering what to do with his business, his appreciation for the area that he lived in and loved, and to make something that everyone else be able to see, such a special place that he could see from the very beginning. I was thinking that Nembutsu calls to each of us so that we can open our eyes, open our ears to recognize the Pure Land right here, right now. Please join me in Gassho as I read this Wasan one more time. The great sage Sakyamuni teaches that Amida's land is easy to reach and calls the sentient being who doubts the Pure Land path, a person lacking eyes or lacking ears. Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namanda, 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 Namanda. Thank you for joining us. Please come up here or there at your homes to offer incense, or however you set up with flower petals, pebbles, marbles, anything you have done. And later on today, please enjoy your Tamago Gohan. Join me in Gassho, and we will close this service. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda. Thank you for being here. Thank you.